All right. Well, now that I can't move my arms, it's a good thing I'm not doing like, uh, if you look over here, what's that called? Oh, a presentation. So last week I talked about fractal lasers and them being one of the most effective tools we have in our arsenal for anti-aging. This week I want to talk about microneedling because it is one of the other tools that we have. Now, they're very different, right? Like fractal lasers, I realize, are not in everyone's budget. They're pricey. Microneedling is the other tool that we have that genuinely will impact the crepiness of your skin, meaning the texture, which is like the number one thing I get asked about. How do I change the texture of my skin? And for some people that can mean acne, it can mean acne scars. For most women over the age of 40, what they're talking about is a loss of elasticity and the sagging, the crepiness that's starting to show up. And we all know it. We all see it starting on your hands, and you're like, oh my God, I feel like the witch in Snow White, like, I'm turning. Make it stop, make it stop. Mirror, mirror on the wall, yes, I am still the fairest of them all. Lie to me. Works. Do I like it? Not really. I actually hate doing it. Of all the things that I do to my skin, and I mean, I do all of it. Biostimulators, Botox, fillers, microneedling, threads on occasion. All the skincare stuff that I do on a daily basis that I have been doing for decades. Like, of all of it, microneedling is my least favorite. But I love the results. I recently met a lady on a flight who was awesome. And she told me that she has a standing appointment every 7 weeks with her esthetician to get it done. I mean, that is the kind of commitment to good skin that I love to see and that I am truly envious of. And I have no excuse. It's not that I can't do it. It's not that I've got a brood of children running around preventing me from doing this. I don't have kids. Like, I got the time. It's just annoying. That being said, it works. Here's the other thing. Microneedling is accessible in terms of price. Now, there are two ways to do this. One is to pay somebody to do it, or you can do it yourself. Turn here for when I do it, right? Like, you gotta numb. I numb for like an hour first. Looks like this. It's not fun, feels weird. And then you gotta wash that cream off. You gotta make sure that you really wash it off, because I have seen horror stories where people get the numbing cream, like they use the microneedling pen and then it gets in their lip and it swells up. You just want to make sure you wash it off, and it feels weird because your nerves are numbed, and so you want to make sure you use extra cold water because you have a new sense. Your skin is more sensitive, your nerves are more sensitive to the temperature of water. It feels wild. Use a Dr. pen. I think it's called an M8. I'll put a picture here of my setup. You want to make sure that you use a sterile environment. Do not use the microneedling rollers. I remember these things came out probably a decade ago when I first started seeing them, and they're like little rolling stamp things that have any number of little metal pins embedded in a silicone wheel. And of course, you're supposed to wash it and put it in alcohol and sanitize it. But the thing is, it's different than the microneedling pen, which is more of like a tattoo pen in its action. And it goes up and down, right? The rollers will tear your skin, and they go across and they get dull. They transfer bacteria unless you're using it single use. But even if you're using it single use, the tearing action of the skin, the way that those work is just not good for your skin. Like, do not use those. I would say don't microneedle if that's what you're going to use. There's tons of different sites where you can get either the Dr. Pen replacement heads. I use the 36 pin, which means there's 36 needles. They have a 16 pin. And then you need something that provides what's called slip on your face, so the pen doesn't drag or snag or get stuck on your skin, it just doesn't feel good. And there's a variety of things that you can use for slip. I use a BB liquid that I get from South Korea. I throw a little Botox in there. I use a hyaluronic acid serum that's just pure HA with a little bit of copper in it, which can promote healing. I don't know, I had it, so I was going to use it up. And I've also put salmon DNA in there, which has recently gotten a lot of press. Sold as salmon DNA, which is supposed to be regenerative. I got that from South Korea too, so sometimes I'll throw that in there. But you'll figure out your own, concoction. And you just want to make sure that you're wearing gloves, that your area is sanitized, and you're being careful, because ultimately you are creating little micro channels in your skin. Now, I remember back like a decade ago when YouTube was a very different place and YouTube beauty was a very different place. And I would watch these older women do microneedling. Oh my God. They would numb and they were like bleeding profusely. Oh my God. It was crazy. And it looked like some kind of torture. Like, it was almost as if they were trying to get the most horrific experience to increase their viewers, which is very on brand with most social media channels at this point. But the truth is that you don't need that. All the research that I've found says that you don't really need to go below to a greater depth than 2.5. You don't need to go that deep. You don't need to go to the point that you're bleeding. That is not the goal. And now, in areas like your forehead, I've been Botoxing for so long, I have very little muscle left on my forehead. I don't have much fat there either. And so it's pretty thin. It's like skin and bone. So I'll get little pinpricks of blood there sometimes. It's fine. That is like normal. That's going to happen. It's going to happen in places where you don't have a lot of fat or other tissue between the bone and, blood vessels in your skin. It shouldn't be the objective. Typically, I'm gonna put a picture up so you can see exactly what I look like immediately afterward. It looks like a really bad sunburn. And I do my neck and my whole face. Necks and hands are to the tail, right? So you can't just do the face, you gotta do the neck too. And it just looks like a really bad sunburn. And then the next day looks a little more like, not bruisey, but like red spots where I did get some bleeding. Within a week, you should be fully healed. And that's when you're going to see a change. Like, it's subtle, but again, this is cumulative effects. You're doing this every 7 to 8 weeks if you're really on it. If you do it once every 6 months, that's okay too. But if you're really trying to remove some crepiness or acne scars, it's really important that you do it every 8 weeks, and you want to focus on those areas. So when I say focus, what I mean is typically when I do it, I'm warming up the skin, which means I go one whole lap all over my face, and then I'll go back over and cross hatch. So if I'm going up and down here, then I'll go this way. And let's say I have one acne scar there, but if I wanted to really focus on this, I'm going to be cross hatching a lot and going back over and back over and back over. And then you let the serum kind of seep into your skin. Put any makeup on for 72 hours. You really want to give your skin a break and just let it heal. You're creating open channels, and your skin is way more susceptible to either an infection or taking in good things that you put on top. So you just want to make sure that you're putting on really simple, really good emollient moisturizers and serums. This is not the time to be putting acid or retinol on your face after you microneedle. You can get a whole setup, everything you probably need for under $250, and that's it's stuff for the slip, gloves, the microneedling pen, the replacement heads are maybe 30 bucks. I wouldn't say it's a secret, but it's a thing that I have done with my skin that I've noticed has made major improvements with the texture and condition of my skin over time. Significantly more than any topical product is ever going to do, right? We have to be realistic about what skincare products can do. They can only go so far, and unless you're using them every day for 20 years. They'll have a really long horizon opposed to microneedling and lasers, and it's kind of like the horizon shortens as the price goes up. Annoying, but true. Have fun microneedling. Good luck, everybody.